Welcome everyone to the Sports GI Network. And today in this video, I am breaking down this upcoming card in London, England, UFC London, Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady. At the UFC, it returns to England, it returns to London for this fight night. And when UFC goes to London for these fight nights, they tend to be very good in terms of like the card itself, like in terms of like what they, in terms of like how they the fights they put on there, in the in terms of the fight's delivery itself, and also the matchups that you look forward to. And I am looking forward to this card. This card's like for me a good 8 out of 10. They usually the UFC does good when it goes to London, like I mentioned, with exception of maybe one card where it was okay. The Aspinall Martin Tybura card. Main event was great because it was Aspinall's return, but still the rest of the undercard was kind of mediocre. But besides the point, it's a good card. They usually deliver when they go on London UFC, and also Manchester when they went to Manchester for the pay-per-view in July last year. That was a good card as well in terms of the fights that are stacked. Super late for the British fans. I feel bad for them, but here at least it's starting on UK time like it should. Should have done that for the pay-per-view, but I don't know why UFC decided not to. That was complete. That was messed up what they did. As you see here, they pulled the screen. The main card starts at 4 p.m. Eastern here in the United States, 1 p.m. Pacific United States, 8 p.m. UK time. And the prelims start at 5 p.m. UK time, 10 p.m. Pacific, and 1 p.m. Eastern. And I do love the Saturday afternoons. Another reason why I love the London cards is because not just the London, but also the Paris cards, and also when they go Abu Dhabi, is that the fights start earlier. I like the Saturday afternoon fights. I always like when they start earlier. Switch up from the typical routine where the card starts at 10 p.m. the main card for a pay-per-view or some fight nights, or 8 p.m. for a fight night, or 7 even. Kind of like the afternoon cards, and it's starting early. I like them. It's just a nice switch. It's nice to switch, and things like that. And plus, what was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, and plus it's good for if you're a European fan or like a fan like in the Middle East, where these UFC cards start super late in the nights, and you have to get up, you have to stay up late or get up super early to watch them live. So it's kind of nice for those fans, but also it's nice for us Americans as well. So that's why I do like the London cards. And I do want to mention one prelim fight real quick. Martin Tybura and Mick Parson. Mick Parson's 10-0. He's from England. He trains with Tom Aspinall. You're seeing on Martin Tybura. Both guys are ranked in the heavyweight division. I think Tybura is ranked number 8 or 9. I want to say somewhere around there. I know Parson's ranked number 14. So that's a big matchup. If Parson could win, I mean, he jumps in the top 10. And you have two British heavyweights in the top 10, which I know has never happened before. And I'm excited for that fight. That's the fight I'm looking forward to the most in the prelims. But also, I am looking forward to Gunnar fight on the prelim, opening the card, which is crazy. Normally, Gunnar's the type of guy who will probably be fighting later on in the prelims, typically. In some Apex cards, he'd probably be in the main card. But they have him opening this London card, which I am excited to see how Gunnar does in this fight coming up. Unfortunately, I also do mention I am not doing a watch along. Unfortunately, I'm working, so I can't do it. So it sucks. I want to do a watch along, but work. But anyway, that is what it is. We'll roll with it. I want to talk about the first fight in the main card, which is between Marcus Charriere taking on Nathaniel Wood. As Nathaniel Wood is the only fighter in the UFC from London, so he's fighting his hometown. He's fought in the London cards, several of them, and won fights there, so he's done it before. He's come out with victory back in, I want to say he fought, I think he fought in 304. I forgot. I know he's come out with victory. He's moved up to featherweight. He was a bantamweight and moved up, and he's actually had success. I believe he's like 3-1 or 4-1 in featherweight. He's had success. Marcus Charriere, the record is 20-10, but he's been on a roll. He's won like 7 of his last 8 fights in total. I know he had that one loss in the UFC like last April, but it was close. So you could have arguably gave it to Charriere. It wasn't like Charriere got dominated. You could have argued the judges got that one wrong. I'm forgetting Charriere's opponent's name, who's also really good. But it was a close fight. Charriere lost. And for me, I'm picking Morgan Charriere to win this fight because Daniel Wood has done well as a featherweight and is a really good fighter. The problem with Daniel Wood, especially going up featherweights, is that he always gets rocked in his fights in featherweight. He always gets rocked badly every time. No matter if he wins or loses, he gets rocked. And the thing, and I feel like with someone like Morgan Charriere, who's a very powerful puncher, got very good finishing fights, good finishing instincts. He's coming off a left hook knockout back in the Paris card back in September against Miranda. Charriere is very good at throwing punches and hurting guys and finishing them if he gets you hurt. Daniel Wood, the one thing about him is that he has a good recovery time, but at the same time, going against someone like Morgan Charriere, he's probably the best, maybe the best striker, the best overall fighter. This is going to be the best fight he's fought in featherweight. Who probably has the best striking of all the guys he fought in featherweight. I was debating between him and Andre Fili, but then I realized, wait, it's Andre Fili. I mean, yeah, he's talented, but come on, Andre Fili. I mean, he's got some talent, rather, but Andre Fili, I think he would get beat up by Morgan Charriere. They fought, probably get finished. So, yeah, Morgan Charriere is definitely the best fighter Daniel Woods fought and the best striker he's fought, clearly. That was the debate between who was the better striker, between Fili and Charriere, but it's like, Charriere, come on. Charriere's a better striker than Fili and obviously a better fighter. But anyway, that was a brain fart there, or mental collapse. But anyway, Charriere is the best striker Daniel Woods fought, and Daniel Woods probably gonna get rocked and drop. I mean, some of his fights he's been dropped too, and Charriere is gonna be used that to dominate Daniel Wood and probably either finish him or get a decision. I do think Morgan Charriere is probably gonna win 29-28, or get like a second round finish. He's gonna catch Daniel Wood and then just drop him and then basically beat him up. Plus Nathaniel Wood is a smaller featherweight. Like, he's done well featherweight, but he's small compared to these other featherweights. He's not like an Aljamain Sterling who went up to featherweight but isn't small for the divisions. Actually fits right in. Daniel Wood, it's not the case with him. You ever see him in his fights at featherweight, and I think that's going to hurt him against someone like Morgan Charriere, who's very talented and is a natural featherweight too. And a guy who's on a roll has fought good guys in the contenders and not contenders series in the regional scene in Europe as well. He's fought some good guys and has done well. So yeah, I'm going Morgan Charriere probably by 29-20 decision or second round finish. As we transition from that fight to the next fight, which is Jordan Vucenic taking on Chris Duncan. Ironically, Jordan Vucenic actually is a victor over Morgan Charriere and in the regional scene back in Cage Warriors. And Jordan Vucenic, this is coming off his loss to Goran Kutateletsi, who, in my opinion, you can make an argument that he won that fight. And when I saw that fight, he looked very good. Remember, he took that fight on short notice against Goran Kutateletsi. Took like a week's notice, or maybe even less of a week's notice, actually, and actually did well. And actually, especially the first round and most of that second round, and that's where you could argue he could have won. Basically, did the first like three minutes and 30 seconds of that second round, but he took that in short notice, looked good against a guy Goran Kutateletsi, did very well, showed that he's a high level fighter. And this time he's got a full training camp prepared. He's fighting lightweight this time. Actually, has time to, because I think if I remember correctly, I think Jordan Vucenic a lot of his fights were at featherweight, so this time he's actually got time to be a lightweight and get ready and actually have a full training camp so he won't gas out like he did against Goran Kutateletsi. And Chris Duncan's coming off a submission victory back in the Paris card back in September. And he's a guy who's a good fighter, but at the same time, I think compared to when you compare Chris Duncan to Goran Kutateletsi, I feel like Graham's just like he's just a better fighter overall and presents more problems for Jordan Vucenic than Chris Duncan does. And you can make an argument Vucenic even won that fight anyway, so you have that to consider. But also I think Jordan Vucenic is just faster than Chris Duncan. Obviously, he's a good puncher. Obviously, he's a good striker. faster, has more in his tool bag to basically go out and implement against Chris Duncan. And I think he's gonna beat up Chris Duncan personally. I just think Vucenic's just better overall, more athletic, faster, more. And I just think he has more ways to win than freaking Chris Duncan. I don't see Chris Duncan winning this fight. Jordan Vucenic's like a big favorite too. If you go on the UFC website, I believe he's like a 3-1 favorite for a reason. And I'll be shocked if Chris Duncan makes this fight super competitive. I will be shocked, but I just don't. But I just don't expect it. I just think Vucenic's going to dominate him. Maybe get like a decision victory. Maybe a late finish. Late round finish. Let me correct myself. Late round finish. I don't want to confuse it with late stoppage by bad officiating. But yeah, I got Jordan Vucenic winning this fight. Anyway, let's transition from that fight to Molly McCann versus Alexia Thainara. Alexia Thainara has like a 5-inch reach advantage in this fight, and she looked well in her contender fight series where she fought and dominated her opponent. I mean, based on what I saw, like I haven't seen like a lot of footage of her personally. I just know that she was on the contender series and did very well there. And I think she will be Molly McCann because Alexia's has got 6 submission victories, and she likes she can grapple and doesn't mind going there. And Molly McCann's weakness has always been grappling. It's very bad, especially if you can take her down. She's basically a fish out of water. She's fucked. I mean, Aaron Blanchard took her down, just dominated her, and just to the point where she got the Kimura on her back in like 2022. And then I forgot her next fight after that. She basically I forgot what was her opponent's name. I think it's Julia something. She basically made a bad mistake with trying to escape the submission. She ran right into her opponent where she did what her opponent wanted to do, or made it easier for her opponent to submit her with an arm bar. It was just like when you watch it, it was like bad submission defense. It was like very shocking to see from Molly McCann. And plus, I think Molly McCann, she has highlight reel knockouts and has power. She's not very technical. She's more like if she catches you or blitzes you, yeah, she can hurt you badly. But if it's like a technical fight where she has to display her skills, she doesn't exactly do as well as she's not exactly going to do as well as some of these other ladies, and especially against someone like Alexia Thainara, who's 11-1. I just don't see that. I think Alexia can use her reach to her advantage in striking department, and maybe catch them all in the can every time she tries to rush in. Just catch her to neutralize her, and then maybe from there, if you can just stun her, be able to transition, shoot and get a takedown, and be able to take her down, go for a submission. Even if she doesn't get a submission, because one thing about Mom McCann is that she was fighting girls who were much bigger than her at 125, and she's a natural strawweight. So Mom McCann might be able to avoid getting submitted, maybe not, maybe he could find a way to escape or prevent herself from getting submitted. If that's the case, I still think Alexia is going to go out there and basically dominate her in the grappling, dominate her for 3 rounds if she can't get the submission. I think she has a huge advantage there, 5-inch reach advantage, 11-1 on a 9-fight win streak. Alexia Thainara is someone that maybe, and I say maybe, you might keep your eyes out for. And I think this is actually going to be a good fight because Molly McCann isn't usual good fights. Like she's one of the few female fighters that usually her fights are actually entertaining for the most part. If you heard my video last week when I go over UFC 313, I mentioned how a lot of these female fights are basically boring, how they're uneventful, they halt the momentum of a good card, especially on main cards of a pay-per-view or like a fight night, typically. However, Molly McCann, she's been in several entertaining fights where she's getting finished herself or she's finishing somebody, so I got to give Molly McCann credit there. And plus, I heard Molly McCann's open up a new a cafe in England, and also she's been doing like other stuff too. So who knows where her mind is, like how deep she is into the game versus Alexia Thainara, who's young, hungrier, trying to make a name for herself as well. So you have that going on. So I think that's also going to benefit. I think that's also another reason to pick Alexia So yeah, I'm going with her by submission or decision. As a transition from that fight to Gunnar Nelson taking on Kevin Holland, I'm picking Kevin Holland to win. but I can't trust Kevin Holland. Let's be real. Can anyone really trust Kevin Holland in the fight? Can anyone? I can. Hang on, let me just get my charger to charge his laptop. I just noticed the battery's low. But yeah, I can't trust Kevin Holland in the fight. Now, Kevin Holland should beat up. Hang on. That was very awkward. I don't know why my camera I lost the connection to the camera when I'm plugging my charger for the laptop. That made no sense. That was odd. I don't know what happened there. That was ridiculous. Anyway, we're Gunnar Nelson against Kevin Holland. Holland should win because Holland's a better striker than Gunnar Nelson. Gunnar Nelson is not a great striker at all, and plus Gunnar Nelson, yeah, he's got the grappling advantage. If you can take Kevin Holland down, his grappling is not the best. But 170, Holland's grappling defense is actually way better than 185, where he's basically not as big as these 185ers. And Gunnar Nelson is very like old school grappler. Like his MMA grappling against decent competition doesn't work as well as like low level guys typically with him. I mean, basically. And also, Gunnar Nelson hasn't. This is his third fight since 2019. He doesn't fight often. He's older too. It's not like I haven't seen anything that suggests Gunnar Nelson's been making improvements with his skills, grappling, or even striking. Holland has a huge reach advantage. He has a 9-inch reach advantage going into this fight. 81 inches for Holland, 72 for Gunnar Nelson. And I can see Holland catching Gunnar Nelson, dropping him, and finishing him in the first round. As Gunnar Nelson, has that karate stand to try to go in. Holland just catch him, drop him, and finish him. We know he's got power in his hands. So Kevin Holland, on paper, should win. Not to sound like Anthony Smith, but I can't trust Kevin Holland. I mean, you've seen it with his interviews recently, his the way his performances, even the fights he wins. It's like he doesn't care. He said himself, he doesn't care. You saw what happened when we went to Jackson podcast and Rampage went at it. The whole 45-70 bullshit, all that, which has become a meme now, 45-70. But it's like I can't trust Kevin Holland in any fight, even fights we should win. Like he might just not try and sneak it up and lose. Like Kevin Holland fought like it's Rainer Rainer back in January in the UFC 311 pay-per-view. Make quick turnaround going down weight against Gunnar Nelson. It's like he's made 170, so he'll make it fine. It's just that like I feel like Kevin Holland at this point just wants to fight and collect checks. Like he's not trying to commit himself to the game. Like MMA Guru did a video about him like 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago about Kevin Holland. Basically just he doesn't care, and basically he's almost like he wants to like not give it all because he's afraid that if he gives it all and he might not be able to be a champion. He wants to be able to say, well, I wasn't champion because I didn't give him my all, basically. And Guru is right, especially when you watch his interviews and just watch how he fights. He seems to have that mentality. And it's really frustrating because, in my opinion, I think Kevin Holland, if he really commit himself to the game, can't be a championship level fighter. I do think he can fight for a world title if he just commits himself because he's talented, athletic, good power, and has a huge reach advantage over a lot of these guys, and he just commits himself. He can do it, but he just doesn't want to. And it's kind of frustrating to watch. It really is. But even despite all of that, I think he should be Gunnar Nelson. But if Kevin Holland, you can't trust him any fight. So I'm still picking him, but I won't be shocked if Gunnar Nelson beats Kevin Holland. That's what I'm gonna say. As we'll transition from that to the co-main event of this card between Jan Blachowicz and Carlos Ulberg. Jan Blachowicz hasn't fought since 2023, July, when he lost to Alex Charriere. He was supposed to fight last year, but pulled out, got surgery. And I know Jan Blachowicz is older. I think he's 41, 42, somewhere around there. And come out in surgery, you would think, oh, Ulberg's going to destroy him, beat him at will. But the problem with that is we've been disrespecting Jan Blachowicz basically his whole career. A lot of us MMA fans. So let's be honest. How many times he's been underestimated and counted the underdog in most of these fights? I feel like it's been like this for like a long time with him. I mean, A lot of people thought Luke Rockhold was going to beat him going up to 205. He's quote natural weight class. He beats Luke Rockhold. Everyone thought Corey Anderson's going to beat him. He already beat him before. Corey's just going to do the same thing. He beats Corey Anderson. Dominic Reyes for the lightweight championship. Oh, Reyes, beat John Jones, which he did. That was one of the worst robberies in MMA history. He goes in there. Oh, Reyes is going to beat Jan Blachowicz. He's just better, and Jan beats him. Israel Adesanya goes up. Oh, Israel's going to be double champ. He's Israel Adesanya. Come on, he can't beat Israel. And he beats Israel. Now he beats Israel, outstrikes Israel, too, before the takedowns. Then you get to Rakic. Everyone thought, oh, Jan's old. He's done. He just lost to Glover Teixeira. Rakic is going to school him. And I know Rakic lost because of an injury, but it wasn't like Jan Blachowicz was getting dominated by Rakic. If I remember, I think I scored the first round for Jan, too. I think. I don't remember that. I don't remember the first round like that. It's been a while since I've seen that fight. And then you go from there to Magomed Ankalaev. He dominated him. He beat up Magomed Ankalaev's legs, wobbled him, and looked like he was going to finish Magomed at one point in the second round. Well, not finish him, but looked like Magomed was done in the second round. But and people say, "Oh, Magomed got robbed." No, it was a draw. It was actually the judges got that correct. If you watch that fight, Jan won the first 3 rounds. To me, it was obvious he won the first 3 rounds. And then Magomed had 10-8 in round 5 after winning round 4. And it was Clinton. The judges got that 100% right. So I don't want to hear robbery with Jan Blachowicz and Magomed. That's just crazy. And did well against Alex Pereira, too. Did very well. Some say he might beat Alex Pereira. So I'm doing all this to say that Jan Blachowicz gets overlooked and by everyone. And I think we just stop doing that. I know Carlos Ulberg's younger. He's 34 years old. He's on a win streak. He's been more active than Jan Blachowicz, but you gotta look at Carlos Ulberg's performance against Oezdemir. He won the fight, but it was super duper close. It was like you could have argued that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna argue. Ulberg clearly won the fight, but he didn't exactly dominate Oezdemir. He didn't exactly make a stamp. It was super competitive in that fight, really competitive. And it was 4 months ago too, so I don't know how much improvements Ulberg's made since then. And plus, Ulberg's from Ulberg whenever he goes from Alonzo Menifield and before that, I think Dong Young Woo, Igor Pretoria, and those guys he's just schooling, dominating. I mean, Alonzo Menifield ran like an idiot, fought like an idiot, and just got knocked out because he was being stupid. I don't know what he was thinking in that fight, just rushing in like that against Ulberg, just during caution to the wind, giving no fucks. Just got knocked out like that. I don't know what that was from him. Anyway, he does well against these other guys. Then he makes a major step up in competition against Volkan Oezdemir. It doesn't look as impressive. It's in a tough competitive fight and barely doesn't have to win. Now, Oezdemir has been in the top 10 for like a long time, for like the last 7-8 years. He's been in the top 10, fought for the lightweight title back in the day, but still, it's like, damn, if you're really supposed to be this next guy that people are hyping up to be as a dark horse in the lightweight division, a guy who could be a championship contender, you should have, to my opinion, a much better performance as Oezdemir. And also, Oezdemir and especially Dong Young Woo were attacking his leg, really attacking his leg, bad, and having success too. And Jan Blachowicz, we know, is one of the best leg kicks in MMA, especially in the lightweight division, behind obviously Alex Pereira, of course. But still, it's like if those guys are able to do a good job with leg kicks, what's Jan Blachowicz going to do? Who's better than them at that? And not only that, he's got the ability to take guys down. He's very good at that too. And I can see him shooting on Carlos Ulberg just to get him thinking about takedowns. Even if he doesn't get it, and if he does get it, I don't know what Carlos Ulberg going to do off his back against someone like Jan Blachowicz, who has a good top game when he's able to take guys down himself. So he has that advantage for him, Jan Blachowicz. He's able to use that to draw Carlos Ulberg off. And Jan Blachowicz doesn't exactly leave his chin open like some of these other opponents that Carlos Ulberg's fought. So you also got to take that consideration. Jan Blachowicz is pretty good in terms of not leaving his chin out in the air. The last time he did that was against Thiago Santos in 2019, and he's learned from that since. And so I think Ulberg's gonna have a hard time connecting as much as he did against Oezdemir or his other opponents before the Oezdemir fight. And I think he's not gonna be handle leg kicks well. Jan has the takedown threat to throw at Ulberg to get him thinking about that. And I think Jan Blachowicz is going to bounce back and get a victory. I know the surgeries and the layoffs might make you guys think I'm crazy for thinking Jan Blachowicz should win, but you got to remember, usually in the heavier weight classes, 205 and above, 205 and heavyweight, I should say, should even 185 to a lesser degree. Coming off long layoffs and surgeries doesn't affect you as badly as it does the lighter man's weight class when you really think about it. Those, if you're like, Dominic Cruz, who Cruz won Cruz won fights and was able to be champ again, but still, like, after that long layoff from like 27, end of 2016 to like 2020, after the Cejudo fight, when he fought, he only fought Cejudo. Then after Cejudo, he waits basically almost a year before he fights Casey Kennedy, and he won the fight, but still, he barely beat Casey Kennedy. It wasn't like he dominated him. And Casey Kennedy's not who we thought he was. He basically fell off. It's like, oof, those injuries really took a toll on Cruz. I'm just using that as an example. And other guys too. Calvin Kattar, he came off that injury, and he has not looked the same since that knee injury in 2022. He's looked bad. So I'm just showcasing how the lighter man's weight classes, you basically, like, it seems like the injuries and long layoffs affect you much worse than heavier weight classes, and I think that's going to help Jan Blachowicz. And plus the older you are, if you're in a heavier weight class, you can still be a good fighter. It's been proven. You go over to Charriere was 42 when he came to 41 when he became the light heavyweight champ. So you got that considered. So I just think stylistically this is a good matchup for Jan Blachowicz, and I'm picking Jan by decision. And it's 3 rounds, not 5 rounds, which helped Jan tremendously, especially coming off that layoff. And he's at sea level, not altitude like Salt Lake City is, where the altitude really affected him in the Alex Pereira fight. So I'm going to transition from that fight to the main event, which is Sean Brady versus Leon Edwards. Now, if you saw my video I made when UFC 314, 315 got announced and the main event changed, because remember, Leon Edwards was supposed to fight Jack Dalla Molina, but then Jack got put the main event UFC 315 for the welterweight title. In that video, talking about all that, I mentioned how I thought Sean Brady was going to win, and I'm still picking Brady to win. However, I'm picking Brady to win, but I'm not exactly as confident as I was in that video, because when Leon fought Blau in July in the rematch, even though Blau was pressuring him and just dictating the pace, Leon won rounds 2 and 5 in that fight, and actually was landing shots despite being on the back foot and things like that. And also, if the 5th round had like 20 more seconds, he probably would finish Bilal Muhammad, because he was throwing some nice elbows and was able to. He was able to, I think, take Bilal down, I think he reversed position. Like, Bilal tried to take him down, he reversed position, and was able to get on top position, land those elbows where Bilal's nose was busted, etc. And I mentioned this because Sean Brady, his last fight against Gilbert Burns, was able to throw a lot of shots at Gilbert Burns, and Gilbert Burns had no answer for them. And Gilbert Burns wasn't throwing anything back. And I don't think Gilbert Burns is the type of fighter to throw shots when being put on the back foot like that. And I think doing that, I think Leon Edwards, Leon can do that, can definitely like neutralize some of Brady's like boxing and be able, some of Brady's offense. But I still think Brady's going to win, just because Brady's also a very good wrestler who uses constant pressure and got decent gas tank. He's able to take guys down. And even though he does nothing with the takedowns, I shouldn't say does nothing. Like, he doesn't go for a lot of ground and pound, etc. with takedowns like other guys do. So despite all that, he's still able to control Leon Edwards and be able to, control him. And if Leon tries to get up, he can probably drag him down again entirely as Leon has a tendency to basically like not fold under pressure, but like when things don't go his way, he tends to get very complacent and just like, okay, I just don't want to get finished. I'm just going to do enough so I don't get finished. Leon tends to have that tendency, unfortunately, in his fights for Leon Edwards. If you watch them, even though he beat Usman in the rematch in the second fight, let's not forget, his coaches had to basically get on him and yell at him, tell him to wake up, stop being complacent. because Leon basically was shut down, just like, okay, I'm just gonna survive. He had that mentality. Now it worked, and obviously he had kicked Kamaru Usman. We made it go in the 5th round, but that kind of also happened in the Bilal rematch, where it seemed like that same thing happened, especially once he got dunked on his head by Bilal. It wasn't until like the 5th round Leon Edwards actually started like doing stuff and actually, trying to win. Like I say, he landed those elbows where if he had 20 more seconds, probably could have finished Bilal. So Leon tends to have the intent. Leon does have that, and also Leon Edwards, like even when he wins his fights, he always just does enough to win. Like he never like dominates, never like does something to where we go, wow, what expected performance by Leon Edwards. Always like he just does enough to win. That's all he usually does. And that's one of the things that always bothered me about Leon Edwards. If you those you don't know, I'm not a big Leon Edwards guy. I've never been a Leon Edwards fan, not the biggest fan of him personally. And it's like one of the reasons why is because when he fights, it's like he just does enough to win. It's never like impressive. Like, wow, look what Leon Edwards did. Like I know people give Colby Covington shit for their fight, but let's not act like Leon Edwards didn't have a shitty performance either. He won, but it's like there were so many opportunities for Leon Edwards to hit Colby Covington when Colby left himself wide open in shots. He didn't take advantage of it. And Leon's performance was terrible. And plus, he got taken out by Colby despite Colby having a broken foot and dominating Colby. It's like, really? It's stuff like that, and seeing Brady's momentum. A guy who's only won one excuse me, not one. He only lost one fight, and that was to Bilal Muhammad, the champion. And since that, he's become, in my opinion, a much better version of himself and more dominant version of himself. Now, the one thing I know you can say is that Leon Edwards probably he has fought better competition than Sean Brady. So that could be used against Brady. I mean, look, the guys Sean Brady's fought versus Leon Edwards. I mean, Leon fought Usman twice, Colby, Bilal. And even though the first fight was a no contest because the eye pokes, he was fucking up Bilal before the eye pokes came to play. He's fought guys like that. He's fought, he's Leon Edwards' competition is much better than Sean Brady's competition. So you may say maybe Leon Edwards, maybe Leon Edwards basically is able to use that experience to beat Sean Brady. But I just think Brady stylistically is bad matchup for Leon just because his wrestling, his constant pressure, and he's got good boxing too. I know we mentioned that how Leon does throw strikes back all his back foot. He was doing against Bilal, and also, Gilbert Burns didn't exactly do anything there when Sean Brady's last fight. But Brady's boxing is, good despite what I mentioned. I mean, he was doing well against Bilal Muhammad in the boxing department. It wasn't like he was getting outclassed by Bilal there too. He did very well there. I understand Bilal's not a particular striker compared to the freaking Edwards, but still. But yeah, I got Brady winning this fight. I think he's gonna dominate him and just dominate him to decision. 49-46. However, I wouldn't be shocked if Leon beat Brady though. Now I'm thinking about it. Before I was super confident in Brady, but now I think about it, there's a chance for Leon to win because Leon does have good takedown defense and can take guys down too. He has taken good wrestlers. He took Kamaru Usman now, and I can see me taking Brady down potentially. But the thing is, Brady just is so constant pressure, constant takedowns, etc. That I think maybe it'll probably give Leon a much harder time to take him down. But I'm going Brady. I know it sounds like I'm flip flopping, but I'm just joining I'm just making the argument for the other side. Now I think about it, but yeah, Brady by decision. But I can see Leon win, though. I wouldn't be surprised if Leon won, though. Because Leon is good. Despite how I feel about Leon and how I'm not, like, the biggest fan of him and, like, his style and etc., Leon is a good fighter for the most part, which, yeah, and former champion. But I think Brady's going to take care of it. I mean, take care of this fight, personally. But we'll see. Anyway, thank you guys for watching and listening. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think is going to win and why. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. I'll see you next time. Have a good day, good night, and peace and God bless. And I'll see you next time. I wish I could have recorded. I wish I was off so I could do the live stream, but it is what it is. I look forward to the London card, and I'll more likely do a video reacting to the card. See you later. Have a good day. Good night and peace.